No Justin Fuente, hot seat takes out there. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, following Duke's annihilation at Lane Stadium over the Hokies, 45-10. What has become of Virginia Tech football that they are losing to the likes of Duke by 5 touchdowns in Blacksburg? Famed Lane Stadium, home turf, night game at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg used to be lethal for opponents, especially in the ACC, especially in the lackluster, mediocre, most likely worst division in college football, the coastal division of the ACC. For those teams to go into Blacksburg now and come away not just squeaking out wins, but winning 45-10 in demolition fashion is embarrassing to Virginia Tech football, and Justin Fuente not getting the job done in Blacksburg at this point. Let's understand that at the point that Justin Fuente left Memphis, took over Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer was struggling at Virginia Tech. He had gone 29-23 to close out his Virginia Tech career. His final 52 games, 29-23, rather marginal, maybe 55% winning percentage. Justin Fuente took over, and myself, many others thought that he would do a fine job at Virginia Tech. Justin Fuente in his first 30 games, rather make that 29 games in Blacksburg. He went 21-8, really good record. Went to an ACC championship game in which they played Clemson and didn't get wiped off the field by a Clemson team that went on to play in the national championship game and was undefeated. And Virginia Tech played them within a score. 21-8 for Justin Fuente at that point, in going 10-4 and 9-4, and then winning the first few games of the next season. Over the last 15 games, Justin Fuente is 6-9. And much like Florida State's situation with Willie Taggart, not only are they losing games, but they are not competing against marginal, mediocre, run-of-the-mill competition like Duke. Virginia Tech, in going 6-9 in the last 15 games, has lost by more than 20 points 6 times in those 9 games. They lost by 2 touchdowns to Old Dominion last year. They lost a bowl game to a team, Cincinnati, out of the American Conference. A group of 5 team beat Virginia Tech in a bowl game last year. This is a Virginia Tech team that from the time that Frank Beamer established it, really the marquee, paramount, milestone win for this program as Frank Beamer built them in the mid-90s was the Sugar Bowl win against Texas. So that was one of the landmark victories in beating Texas, a blue blood program, and winning that game in the Sugar Bowl. And then they took off from there and were a top 10 program for a long time. And really, Virginia Tech's last really good team was in 2011. Yeah, they had the Justin Fuente 2015 ACC championship game team that finished 10-4. My goodness, special teams and defense are gone, long gone from Virginia Tech. Bud Foster, finishing out his career at Virginia Tech, fielded the worst defense in his tenure in 2018 in every category. Scoring defense, yards per game. They were so bad that last year Pitt, not the Pitt team that scored 35 against UCF, a Pitt team that was marginal on offense, top 75 in the nation, Pitt, scored 52 points. This is just a microcosm. 52 points and 15 yards per play against Virginia Tech. And they're just as bad, if not worse, this year. Virginia Tech right now is 2-2. They're 0-2 in the ACC, having lost to, again, 2 teams in Duke and Boston College, who lost by 24 points to Kansas. My goodness, their 2 wins, the Hokies, 2 wins this year against Old Dominion by 2 touchdowns, and they beat Furman by 7. Could only score 24 points against Furman, 24-17. Over the last stretch of this season, if you go from now until the final gun, Virginia Tech's only going to be the favorite twice. Most likely the favorite 2 games against Rhode Island, an FCS team, and against lowly Georgia Tech, who's finding its way under Jeff Collins. They've got a quarterback battle between Hendon Hooker and Ryan Willis. I don't know if it's necessarily a battle at this point. Josh Jackson, I know he's struggling mightily with Maryland. His last 2 games have been deplorable. But with Virginia Tech, Josh Jackson threw 25 touchdowns and 10 interceptions and turned in the seasons we're talking about, 9-4, 10-4. He was the starter for the one season. And Virginia Tech has lost its leading rusher, receiver in past seasons over the last couple of years, and all sorts of defensive injuries and just defections out of the program. Justin Fuente, we talk about Willie Taggart at Florida State. We talk about Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee, USC's Clay Helton, also Jim Harbaugh now being on the hot seat. But what about Justin Fuente? Virginia Tech fans, your thoughts about Justin Fuente and his performance in Blacksburg from a program that we don't consider near elite in college football, but they were playing near elite football from about 1995 to about 10 years ago. And even under Frank Beamer at the end, they were playing decent football. They were winning 8 and 9 games and going to bowl games. And under Justin Fuente, over the first 29 games, as I mentioned, they were playing even better than they were under Beamer. But now, this is a 15-game sample in which they have been awful. Chime in on Virginia Tech's plight under Justin Fuente. What should be the measuring stick for Virginia Tech football? Is Justin Fuente the guy? What has happened there? And what should be the expectations at Virginia Tech? And is he meeting those? He's certainly not meeting them, in my estimation, by any stretch. Virginia Tech needs to win 8 or 9 games most seasons for a coach to keep his job. This is only a 15-game sample, but it does not look good. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We will talk Week 5 coming up tomorrow right here.